Hello, good day everyone. Thank you for joining me today for this presentation. First, let me go ahead and share my presentation slides. The title of my presentation is Writer as Creative Writing Researcher, Linking Writers' Self-Reports to Autoethnography. Unlike in most other disciplines in the university, creative writing instruction is still largely informed by lore-based craft writing done by the practitioners of writing or writers' self-reports, as Wendy Bishop calls them, because the field was built on the apprentice model. Craft writing, on one end, can be what Tim Mears defines as craft criticism. Critical prose written by self or institutionally identified creative writers. And on the other, what Wendy Bishop describes as writers' self-reports, stories, anecdotes, aphorisms, writers' stories, and observations. These writings are basically, this worked for me and might work for you as well, advice, often inspired by yet other craft writers and lords, like Garner informing Butler, Butler informing Burway, and Burway informing writers and teachers like me, and teachers like me informing our students on artistic mastery. In recent years, many of those craft approaches to teaching have been called into question as lores, since they are not backed by research. Bishop called writers' self-reports highly engaging but fallible. We, however, keep using them for the purpose of learning to write as well as teaching. We keep doing it because there is value in those lores. As Bishop says, there is, I quote, a wealth of unsubstantiated yet intuitively accurate knowledge. In their 2007 book, Kelly Ritter and Stephanie Vanderslice also point out how those essays, mostly, I quote, stories literally lures sidestep scholarship. However, they also see the value in them and point out the need to take them seriously. They agree that the existing scholarship ignores the lore of creative writing pedagogy, considering it to be only small, uncomplicated utterances, and add, when in fact it is a powerful, complicated discourse, one whose power we will harness only by giving it our full critical response. This is in line with Bishop's suggestion to link writers' insights to composition research and theory. I quote, to further clarify what it means to be a writer and have a writing process. As we know, things are changing for the better in terms of scholarly engagement in creative writing, but there is more we can do, and we have newer tools available as we interact with other disciplines in the university. In the creative writing classroom, as Bishop pointed out, the experts are the textbooks and the teacher, and that's one reason why self-reports are still valued, even without much theoretical substantiation. When experts, meaning the writers themselves, are the textbooks and teachers, it makes a good sense to employ a methodology that helps the teachers, I quote Bishop again, to ask themselves to what extent the texts they employ and their own writing rules are culture, genre, and context-based. This is exactly where I see the opportunity for an autoethnographic approach to writing research. Autoethnography is a qualitative method combining characteristics of ethnography and autobiography. Autoethnographers, Stephen Pace explains, reflexively explore their personal experiences, and their interactions with others as a way of achieving wider cultural, political, or social understanding. Leon Anderson explains a central feature of autoethnography is that the researcher is a highly visible social actor within the written text. The researcher's own feelings and experiences are incorporated into the story and considered as vital data for understanding the social world being observed. Leon Anderson proposes a more critical form of autoethnography called analytic autoethnography as a substitute to Caroline Ellis's notion of evocative autoethnography, in which the mode of storytelling is akin to the novel or biography and thus fractures the boundaries that normally separate social science from literature. The narrative text refuses to abstract and explain, Ellis and Baker. He proposes 5 key features of analytic autoethnography. 1, complete member researcher status. 2, analytic reflexivity. 3, narrative visibility of the researcher's self. 4, dialogue with informants beyond the self. And 5, commitment to theoretical analysis. Many of the features Anderson identifies already exist in writers' self-reports: an awareness of the membership of the group, some level of self-reflexivity, and narrative visibility are existing features of such reports and craft essays. If we include craft criticism to this category, we also have some level of theoretical analysis and dialogue with informants in them. My proposition at this point is that by employing autoethnography, as Anderson proposes, we can methodically substantiate craft talks and writers' self-reports. Through the article on learning, teaching, and the pursuit of creative writing in Singapore and Hong Kong, Eddie and Eva Leung have shown how authors can draw from their experiences of teaching creative writing to further understand the process and inform their future practices. In the article, they exemplify that the author's experience of learning and teaching in the creative writing classroom is a prism through which we explore issues pertaining to the pursuit of creative writing in the 2 Asian societies. Similarly, in writing the self into research, using grounded theory and analytic strategies in autoethnography, Stephen Pace demonstrates how creative artists and writers have been using autoethnography and how grounded theory can contribute to making the research more analytical. I believe there are more for us to draw from. So to conclude, craft writing and writer's self-reports, or the lores, broadly speaking, deserve a more theoretical approach to them for what they have to offer and their persistence despite fallibility. Autoethnography, as has been practiced by creative artists, appears to be an appropriate tool for this purpose. As you have seen, this presentation is more of an exploration, and I would very much appreciate your comments and feedback. Thank you very much for joining me.